to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 22 of the 2025 NRL season. Last week I got 5 out of 8 correct, which is what I got the previous round. This week I'm going to be appearing in front of the camera because today we're really busy. Didn't really have a chance to do much in regards of getting pictures and recording it the way I normally do. I've got a busy week coming up, so I thought I'd just record it this way for today. So stay tuned for the rest of the video. Today's first match that I'm going to be talking about happens on Thursday night. This one's between Parramatta and Melbourne. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium in Parramatta. Parramatta are 14th on the table at the moment, Melbourne 3rd on the table at the moment. In the last 10 meetings between these two clubs, it's been a bit of a seesawing affair. Melbourne's won the last 5 matches in a row against Parramatta. Before that, Parramatta's won 4 matches in a row against Melbourne, so it went from one way to the other way. Going into this game, these two sides have met already this year. Happened in round 1, where Melbourne effectively ended Parramatta's chance of winning the premiership this year by, as we all know, the 50-point rule. And it were the worst possible start for Jason Rouse as head coach at Parramatta, but a lot has changed since then. Slowly but surely, things seem to be happening at Parramatta in regards of player retention, players leaving the club. As for Melbourne, they had a narrow win last week. I did a short video about some of the decisions that happened in that game. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. With Parramatta, they had a very unexpected win against Brisbane. A lot of people predicted Brisbane to win that game quite comfortably, me included. And Parramatta came out and won by 2 points. With this match, Melbourne's going to be without 1 or 2 players, especially Jerome Hughes. With Parramatta, they're almost full strength. I think they're only missing 1 or 2 players, but almost full strength. This is a huge game as well for Parramatta because they have to build off the momentum of last week. That's a key thing with Parramatta, especially under Brad Arthur when he was head coach. This is before Rouse took over. They put in a really good performance and people would go, where's this come from? And then the next week they put in a shite performance and you go, well, what happened last week? So with Parramatta, they have to make sure that they keep doing consistent displays like this going forward in the future, because if they come out on Thursday night and it's another case of them losing by 20 or 30 points or whatever, or they play poorly, people are going to go, well, that win over Brisbane, what did it really mean? So for this match, I think it's winnable for Parramatta. I'm not entirely confident 100%, but I think they probably got like a 25%, 30% chance of winning this game. But I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go for Melbourne to win this match by 1 to 12 points. I think that they'll just have a bit too much class on the pitch for Parramatta on Thursday night. The first match on the Friday is between New Zealand and Redcliffe. This one's being played at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. New Zealand 4th on the table, Redcliffe 8th on the table at the moment. New Zealand and Redcliffe have played against each other 6 times. New Zealand's won 4 of those, so since Redcliffe's come into the competition, New Zealand's dominated this fixture. With Redcliffe, they travelled to Mount Smart Stadium once before and they lost. They come into this game off the bye. As for New Zealand, they had a really disappointing loss against the bottom place Gold Coast side. I really expected New Zealand to win that game. I know that Gold Coast have been there once or twice in the past and caused an upset, but I went. But the way New Zealand's playing this year, not a chance, and I don't know what happened in that game, but they just didn't play to their best. This is going to be a tricky one to call because New Zealand, I think, were going really well, and then after that injury to Luke Metcalf, they really haven't been the same side this year. And with Redcliffe, they can score plenty of points. As we're seeing this year, they just click of the fingers and they can put a few tries on you just like that. So it's going to be a good matchup between these two sides. New Zealand looking to solidify their spot in the top 4, Redcliffe looking to solidify their place in the top 8. I'm going to take a bit of a risk. I'm going to go for Redcliffe to win this game. I'm going to go for Redcliffe to win this match by 1 to 12 points. And the main match on the Friday is between Brisbane and South Sydney. This one's being played at Suncorp Stadium, or for your older listeners out there, Lang Park. Brisbane sat 6th on the table at the moment. South Sydney bottom of the table at the moment in 17th, but the for and against with them and the Gold Coast is dead even. Coming into this game, I did a short video on it maybe about 2 weeks ago. I said South Sydney were in crisis, and the crisis deepens even further. 8 losses they've had in a row now. 8 losses. That's just totally unacceptable. I know they've got a mountain injury crisis, but still, other teams have injuries and that and still manage to pick up a win here or there. With Brisbane, they had a disappointing loss against Parramatta last week. I don't know whether it was a case of they just went, well, we'll show up and we'll turn these over, or what happened, but they just, I don't think they played them to the best of their ability on, well, last week against Parramatta. With South, they had a narrow loss against Cronulla Sutherland there at Central Coast Stadium. Oh, with this match, I think I'm going to go for Brisbane to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win by 13 plus. I think that they'll be very angry with themselves. I think they'll be fuming with how they played last week against Parramatta. South Sydney got a lot of players out. Is this going to be the year where Wayne Bennett gets a wooden spoon? Even though he's done so many great things in his coaching career, is this the year where he gets a wooden spoon? And we all know what wooden spoons are like. It's like a criminal record. Once it's on your file, you can't get rid of it. So I'm going to go for Brisbane to win this game by 13 plus. The first match on Super Saturday is between the Gold Coast and Penrith. This one's being played at Seabull Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. Gold Coast in 16th at the moment. Penrith in 5th on the table. Penrith resurgent yet again. 7 wins in a row that they've done in the league in a row now, and they're building their run nicely towards the finals. With the Gold Coast, they had an upset win over New Zealand, probably one of the upset wins of the season, going all the way over there to Nelson Smart Stadium in Auckland, bottom of the table, not really given much of a chance, and they come away with the win. They'll be coming in this match full of confidence, especially when they've leapfrogged South Sydney on the table, even though both of them are equal last on for and against. Just saying that, you know, you're a place higher, you're off the bottom of the table, will give their players a massive lift. With Penrith, as I mentioned before, timing their run nicely. If Gold Coast managed to win this game, I reckon this would probably be up there with Parramatta defeating Brisbane. It'd be one of the upsets of the year. Could it happen? I'd probably give Gold Coast maybe a 10% chance of winning this game, 15% chance of winning this game. But as I mentioned earlier this year with the Gold Coast, 12 times this year they've conceded 24 points or more in a game. And that's why they are where they are on the ladder, because they can't defend most of the time. And when you're up against a Penrith side who are red hot at the moment, your defence has to be good. So I'm going to go for Penrith to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win by 112 points. The second match on Super Saturday is between St George and Canberra. This one's being played at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong, which is ironic because St George can't buy a win at the moment. They've lost their last 4 matches in a row in the league. Canberra sat top of the table at the moment. They've won 9 matches in a row in the league, looking to get their first minor premiership in over 30 years. With this match, these two sides met each other earlier in the year, only a couple of rounds ago, and Canberra won that narrowly by 4 points. So they'll know that when they come and play against St George, even though St George are not doing too well at the moment, that they'll be in for a game and they have to be switched on. With this match, I think St George, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks they've been in games, but they just don't have the quality to get them over the line. The game against North Queensland, they were in the match, just didn't know how to win it. The match against Canterbury, that were heartbreaking for them. They lost in the last 2 minutes. This is going to be a really tall order against Canberra, who are red hot at the moment. So I'm going to go for Canberra to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win by 112 points. The third match on Super Saturday is between Manly Warringah and Sydney Roosters. This one's being played at Brookvale Oval. Manly sat 9th on the table at the moment, and Sydney Roosters sat in 10th. These two sides haven't been playing too well as of late, or they haven't been getting the results as of late. Sydney Roosters had another loss, this time narrowly against Melbourne, and Manly, they got belted, they got battered against Canterbury Bankstown there on their Sunday. So Manly will be looking for a bit of a redemption, I think, in this game if they can get it at home. Eastern Suburbs, they've had a bit of an up and down year. I mean, they've had a few injuries, they've been putting in some performances, they've put in a couple of really good ones, a couple of really bad ones. Sometimes it's hard to get a gauge on how they're going, but no doubt, like, over the years, even though they've had a few injuries and stuff like that, they still turn up, they still give it a red hot crack. I think out of all the games to pick, I think this one's probably going to be one of the hardest ones in the round for most people. I'm going to go for Sydney Roosters to win this game. I'm going to go for them to win by 112 points on Super Saturday, even though I'm not entirely confident. Going into Sunday, the first match on Sunday is between West Tigers and Canterbury Bankstown. This one's being played at Western Sydney Stadium in Parramatta. With West Tigers, another disappointing loss for them over the weekend against Penrith. And with Canterbury Bankstown, they had a commanding win against Maringa, as I just mentioned. Canterbury Bankstown's won the last 4 matches in a row against West Tigers in the league. Canterbury sat second on the table at the moment. With this match, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really give West Tigers much of a hope in this game. I think Canterbury Bankstown will be a bit too strong. I'll probably go for Canterbury Bankstown to win this match by 13+. And going into the final match of the round this week is between Cronulla, Sutherland and North Queensland. This one's being played at Shark Park. With Cronulla, they had a narrow win last week against South Sydney. And as for North Queensland, they had a very high scoring affair against St George. With this fixture as well, in recent times, Cronulla's dominated it. In the last 10 times that these two sides have met, Cronulla's won 8 of those. So they certainly love playing against North Queensland. I've done a video on this match before because a lot of people consider this to be a rivalry game or a grudge match game. I did a video on it. It's an interesting video if you want to go check it out, but it talks about the history of these two clubs. And even though they're separated by thousands of miles and they're in different states, whenever these two sides play against each other most of the time, something happens, and some of these games are quite fiery and some of them are quite close as well, especially when it comes to the finals. So I expect this one to be sort of no different. North Queensland need a win to keep their season alive. Cronulla Sutherland need a win to, make sure that they're still in the top 8 and they still want to play finals. For this match, I'm going to go for the home side. I'm going to go for Cronulla to win by 112 points. I think this is going to be a very tight game, but I'm going to go for Cronulla to win this match. So that concludes the round 22 tips for the 2025 NRL season. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping in the comment section. Let me know your margins and all that caper. Thanks to everyone that watched my video last week. It's one of the most watched NRL tipping videos on YouTube. Thanks to all the new subscribers and everyone that continues to support me. Anyways, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch us all later in the next one. Ta-ra for now.